Hello and welcome into the Sorare Data Show. I am Andrew Laird. You can find me as Lairdinho on Sorare. Joined today on a Wednesday by PSU2, who's probably thrown off by the music because he's not usually on Wednesdays. Sean, what do you think about the Wednesday music?
I liked it. I was definitely confused, but I liked that intro bit.
I thought it might. I think you did a Tuesday show recently, and I just remember as soon as we started, you were like, "What the hell is that music?" I'm like, "Oh, it's Tuesday music." For full disclosure, I asked Sean to move to Wednesday this week. It was not Sean looking for another day. So I'm glad you were able to experience the new music, or not the new music, new to you. Anyway, Major NFT first in, way to be. Bob Franklin on the podium with Major NFT, and then Alex, when button. The button is now. It's now. Simple as that. No Name Informer, what's up? The question is, can we spread new Sorare's life with old cards? Can we spread new Sorare's life? I'm not even sure what that means. I don't know. Wheat Thins in the house. You like Wheat Thins?
No, I actually am not a Wheat Thins fan.
Really?
Yes. Wow. Not this Wheat Thins, but the
right, the cracker. Yeah. Not the
actual Wheat Thins. I'm just not a fan of.
Not a fan.
A little too dry for me. A little too dry for me.
That's fair. That's fair. I enjoy them. In fact, I think I ate them yesterday. Anyway,
to be fair, like Wheat Thins kind of seems like something like a 60-year-old would enjoy. So like you enjoying
so
them.
it fits. That's fair. That's with my Ovaltine and
yeah.
Exactly. Anyway, Wheat Thins, not the cracker, said dark mode means I can continue to craft lineups until 3 a.m. without my eyes getting tired. Love it. Yeah, dark mode for the mobile app is here. We continue to work on it for the desktop. That one takes a while. Jamie said, button is timed perfectly for my family weekend away. It means I don't have to find an excuse to slope off and copy lineups across. Although some would say it's now you have to find a new reason to slope away from your family.
I will say this timing, so good for me.
Couldn't agree more.
So good.
I mean, I think any timing was good, but I think we nailed it.
If you picked 1 week a year when like the timing would happen, it probably would be like not this week or the next week, but like the following week. That would be like the number one. Yeah, it would be like the perfect week where it's like, I need that.
I need that.
So actually, I would argue that this is like even better because now I can just get used to it a little bit before that in case there's any kinks. Because I can imagine there would be a kink or two that happens. I haven't seen any or heard any yet, but it's a pretty big change that is over 2 platforms. So like I can imagine there could be some.
Maybe. We've tested it a decent amount. So I think hopefully it's smooth sailing. Although some people don't have access to the button yet. We are rolling it out mostly because we need to figure out how many people are actually going to use it. And the last thing we want is everyone to use it 5 minutes before the deadline, and then it doesn't work because of all the people using it. So if you don't have access to the button and you're a star member, it's coming. We promise it's coming.
Yes.
Vita, who was here earlier, said won't be able to attend the stream live, but wanted to share some love for all of you showing your support. I will second that. Just everybody really supportive of what we've been trying to do. And we got it done. Shoshix, maybe. Will yesterday's episode in future be uploaded to Spotify, or is that a thing of the past from the old Sorare? I think they're both on there. I uploaded both. So if they're not there, I don't know why. But remember, there were no shows last week. So if you thought you missed all the shows from last week, it's because there were none. Anyway, Raymond Sorare, hey guys, came today to see what I've missed out. Got mocked in Discord the other day as I asked where Cap 240 was on the weekend. Didn't know it was going. Raymond, I think
about this?
there are a few people who are quite curious where Cap 240 went, Sean.
Okay, so I'm gonna post. Chat. Do you have Slack open?
I can.
Okay, just open up our Slack, and I just wrote this. So I'm gonna tell the story. I don't want to expose this person, but I'll expose them to you. Is that person?
I have seen this already. I know exactly who you're talking about.
Well,
I've seen it already.
Yeah, I'm in a Discord, and this person comes in, and they're like, they are someone that is, I would argue, one of the more like up to date and in the know people in the past. In the past,
right.
They were this person, and they have just lost a lot of interest in Sorare. They haven't loved the changes, have been down on it for quite a while, and have sort of detached from it to some extent. Well, still playing, but a significant detachment. They come in today and they're like, why is 240 not there? And I'm like, bro, I know you've been detached, but you didn't know 240 was gone? He's like, no, I had no idea. I'm like, wow.
So There was that, and there was also the whole like, is cap 250 the new 240? As if somehow they were making threshold easier.
But yeah, like he asked, he's like, "Why is the threshold not in this?" I'm like, "Oh man." I'm like, my dude, you.
I will say, I was talking to our good friend Harry Trades yesterday because I was astonished at how many entries there already are in cap 240, cap 250, rare and super rare. And Harry's like, I think everybody thinks it's the threshold, and so they just like threw their lineup in. And he's like, it'll be Friday and Saturday when we start seeing the tweets of like, where's all the cash payments in cap 250? And nobody realizes it's just cards. So
well, they could. There's also other reasons for it, which I'm sure we'll talk about here in a little bit.
We will. DNP Donkey, big fan of PSU. Here you go. Ben Johnson, appreciate the John Nellis on the comms for us.
I mean, you guys are able to get a YouTube star like that who has no affiliation to Sorare to come in and give that sort of a video. Like, you can't beat that.
That's what we do. Alex said 17 lineups all set thanks to the button. So, yeah, there we go. ZM Star. In the new Sorare, are people still morons?
Yes, but this is a good start. I mean, technically, if we're calling this the new Sorare starting today, I haven't seen anything dumb and only something that is absolutely fantastic that has happened at this point.
The day is young for us, Sean.
The day is young. Now, if it started yesterday, yes, morons. But we'll talk about that, I'm sure.
We'll talk about it. SGT looking for food into row Z. That's right. All praise the button. Appreciate everybody who really is fired up by this button because there's a lot of work that went into it by a lot of people, including John Nellis. So how about that? Yeah, Sam Baines, Johannatan. I'm just going to keep scrolling through these people. Sean, is there... Sorry, never mind. I'm still scrolling. Wow, there's a lot of people here. I'm just going to skip. Anyway, Scosmo says, I don't want the new Sorare.
I mean, Scosmo's negativity has been very prevalent recently. He's been very negative. He and I had a discussion last night about stuff that he was just we went off the rails, and we're both just like, we went off the rails and we're like, whatever, and then just called it a day. I would say that's the like most conversation I've ever had where we're both just like, yeah, this went off the deep end, and we're just like, whatever, and then we just called it a day.
Scosmo has a bit of a roller coaster relationship with Sorare.
He does. He's usually, though, Scosmo's a lot more on the up and then a lot less on the down, but the down's like,
yeah.
But like, I would say Scosmo's been more on the down recently, less so on the up.
But it's also just the tiniest little positivity, and he's like right back up, and we're like, dude, hold on, like slow your roll a little bit, like we'll see what's going on.
Scosmo's definitely the person where his emotions are swing widely.
Yeah. He's just, I mean, he's passionate about this product. He thinks it can be great. I mean, he came up with the division system, and we're starting to like see how this is all going to.
So all right, we were talking before the show. So I'll give this because this is pretty funny. We were talking before the show about whose original idea the button was, and we can't remember. I think there's a possibility it was me, but we don't, for a different reason that we won't go into. Like because I talked about it from a DFS perspective because it's a big deal in the DFS community and saves people shitloads of time that they don't have. So I will happily forever take credit for the button. If anyone wants to give me credit for it, I will happily accept. I don't know if Scosmo will happily accept credit for the division system. I feel like that's something he may not want to claim as his.
I think he has the benefit of a very long Medium post that is not exactly what they implemented. And so anything that goes wrong, he's like, see, that part's not in my Medium post. Like, you guys missed the important part here of everybody should be happy.
True.
But yeah, anyone know. The other funny thing is, Sean, did you even notice that we went from game week 501 to game week 1?
I did know that. But it's not updated like that on server data, but I heard that. Let me rephrase. I didn't know that, but I did. Chawny's here. Chani does not want to give me credit for the button. Chani, I still haven't got my reward for the Chani League in the Euros. So I'm mad at you because I still have not received my reward for this. Also,
I'm sure Chani's hard at work trying to get mailing addresses.
I was real close to winning the Chani League, the Haber League, and the Nellis League. And oh my God, the shit talking that would have been able to come out of that would have been fantastic. But anyways, the Chani League is the only one that I know I got a reward from, and I did not get anything. So, they're very upsetting.
Scosmo said he does take credit for the divisions, just they can be better.
Okay. All right. So Scosmo gets division credit.
Yeah. And ZM Star also shout out to Trip and B, who's back. Calvin Stings brought him back, and then Calvin Stings was like, "Oh wait, never mind."
Did Trip and B buy cards? Did he buy cards again? Because someone had set like a.
He did.
He does. Okay.
He did.
He hit the under. The under was, I think, the beginning of September, so he definitely hit the under on when he was returned.
Yeah. The game's too fun, man. The game's too fun.
Good.
Let's go into the topic for today, because there was one specific thing that you had mentioned that we've discussed with each other on stream and in Discord over the last 2 months, basically. And their announcement for the Champions League contests coming up in September gave us kind of a preview of or they don't even call them special weeklies, the specials that they're going to have in midweeks coming in the future. And it's felt like when they announced all of the changes, meaning like the move to champion and challenger and contender, and we all kind of sat there and we're like, all right, that's cool for weekends and for the domestic league matches, but what are you going to do for midweeks? And the response was like, oh, we've got huge plans for midweeks. We're going to give out all this money. Everything's going to be specials. And if anything wonky, maybe we'll do some all-star. And I felt like we took that with no grains of salt. I felt like we were just like, okay, great. Like, that sounds great. And
we took it with grain of salt. We're like, all right, that sounds good. We'll believe it when you guys show us that.
That's sure.
Yes.
We have our first kind of instance of a special. And I don't really want to talk about the ones leading up like in August, because I don't think we necessarily thought they would be like right away. Midweek stuff would be great because, Champions League and Europa Conference League, like it starts in earnest in September. So we have this first instance, and it feels like the immediate response from a lot of people was, you lied to us.
Well, actually, I saw a lot less negativity than there should have been, because
I will say that you have been more negative than anyone else. And then when you kind of laid out the difference between like what your gallery looked like previously in terms of like midweeks and what you could play, and then what you could play now, you were like, the loss of utility is massive.
Yeah. Like, all right, I'm blown away by people were like, I would say, so here's a question, Larry. I would say over the last 6 months, I've been one of the more positive people about Sorare. Would you agree?
I've been shocked at your positivity.
Yeah, like I would argue I'm one of the most positive people out of anyone that you talk to on a regular basis. Like by a wide margin. This was the first thing that I saw that so everyone that's watching right now, they literally just kicked you in the nutsack yesterday. It doesn't matter who you are and what your gallery is. That announcement was horrific. It was so dog shit. It was so bad. And we're going to get into this because I'm going to take the actual like even keel line when we fully talk about this. What in the world is this bullshit that they're coming out with? So like, again, this is another, like, they basically, like, if you have, like, super and unique cards, it's like, boom, 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 boom. And my hand's like, you're nuts. Like, that's boom, boom, boom. They just are constantly just obliterating you. It's like, I don't understand how there's not more negativity. I don't understand how people aren't losing their mind. This is the worst announcement we've had in, I don't even know how long.
So we can go through this announcement in a minute, but basically it was like it's what, $100,000 in total cash rewards.
Yeah, nothing has to do with any of that shit. That's fine.
I think what stuck out for a lot of people was the fact that you need 4 in-season cards, which is the same as the regular in-season competitions for champion, challenger, and contender, but is also different than all of the other specials that they've done that only require 3. My guess is the reason they're comfortable with doing 4 is they do 3 because there are just not enough cards out on the market yet. And in another month, there should be. I think it's like quite prohibitive for the super rare and unique level, which I'm guessing is what you immediately looked at.
Yeah. But it's not just that. Like, it's still impactful at the rare and limited level as well. Obviously less so. But like the super rare level, you need 4 in-season guys to run one lineup in this midweek thing, which is like not very many teams. Also, I think I read that they're like, yeah. So, all right, scroll up, Laird. Scroll up. This is something also that I didn't realize at first and no one else realized. Game week 10, they have the European Champion special. Okay? They don't have it in game week 14, Laird. Game week 14, your Champs League cards cannot be played anywhere but All-Star.
Wait. That says it right here. And game week 14?
Look below at the competition.
Oh, so one week is Champions League and the other week is... I didn't notice that either.
Yeah, no one noticed this. I didn't notice it till late. So in game week 14, you have your Real Madrid cards. They're going in gas, baby. You can't use them anywhere else, at least as of what this looks like. That's mind-blowing to me. That is so bad.
That's really funny that you, like, I definitely did not notice that. And that's not even what I thought you were going to point out.
Correct.
So what I thought was this whole... It felt like they had this like really great announcement and everybody is kind of reading it like, okay, this is like the in-season one where the classic competition, since we all have all of these classic cards that were the foundation of our questions about midweek utility. Like, how are we going to use it? And then they add this like, oh yeah, you'll also have 3 all-star entries that you can use. And the funny thing about that is once you get all your your Champions League cards that you use in game week 10, like your new in-season ones, and not to say you're only buying them for that competition. Like if you have them for champion, like you probably have them for that one or vice versa. But now those are competing with your classic cards for these 3 all-star comps. And so you basically have like 6 teams. If you max enter, you have 6 teams worth of cards and only 3 entries.
Yes. Yeah, like I said, people didn't notice this. Clearly you didn't. I did not. I don't think most people noticed it. Like, I cannot stress how awful this was. Now.
It's really, literally never.
Right? Like, it's terrible. It's the worst thing they've announced in a couple of years.
I just assumed it was both weeks.
Yeah, because, I mean, that's logical, and this isn't logical. Now, I want to throw a caveat out there. My caveat is, if they give us other shit, then this is probably fine.
What do you mean by give us other? Like, why would
They give us a competition in the midweek where you can play your Champions League cards in them.
They gave it to us. It's All-Star.
Like I said, if they give us that's the point. My caveat is if they give, but here's the thing, Laird. People aren't losing their mind over this. The blowback on this has been 0. I have not seen any blowback on this. And this is the worst announcement that I think they've put out in 2 years. And nobody's losing their mind. So they're probably just like, yeah, we're good. We're good, boys.
Do you think it's because nobody noticed that?
I mean, you didn't notice it. I didn't notice that at first. Nobody's complaining. Like, Game week 14, your Champions League cards can only be used in 3 gas lines. Not to mention that I'm going to have 20 lineups worth of cards that I can only play in 3 spots, and those 3 spots are going to be so mind-blowingly like difficult to win. You're going to need to average like 98 points a player because it's going to be so absurdly hard to win. Looking for food said, are people not complaining due to not having cards that qualify for this? I think people are not complaining because they don't comprehend what this is.
I think it's a lot of like it's too far out, and so they're just like, oh yeah, there's a Champions League special.
Like
that's it.
If you just have this special and then you have like, I don't know, again, we don't know exactly what the midweeks are going to be because this is horrific. This is like a steaming pile of shit. Like I'm being kind here. Like this is that bad that it's like that bad. It's so bad.
We don't even know the draws yet.
We don't have the draws or
matchups are, yeah.
Which like
to answer this question, Daniel Duke said, will there be champ as there's more than 10 teams playing from that division? But they will not because they're not playing league matches.
They're not playing league matches. So in theory, they can only be played in gas. With my MLS cards that also play that week in gas. Actually, I guess MLS will open up Challenger.
MLS, you can play. Yeah, you said Challenger.
Yeah, MLS will open up Challenger. But so like this is arguably the worst thing they've put out in 2 years. I would argue this announcement. It's that bad.
Yes, Pierce said special weeklies are so up in the air that people don't know how to complain about.
Well, here's the thing. People aren't going to complain about a special weekly because it's fine if it's just special weekly. Like on a weekend, they don't care because they have all the other places to play stuff. So it's just a weekly. It's not a big deal. There's nothing else. There's 3 All-Star contests and 3 U23 lines. That's it.
Yeah, like I think
anywhere else.
I think the like special sounds like it's in addition to.
Yes, but there's nothing.
And this is, I don't think people appreciate like this is it.
Yes.
That you can play.
Like Nanzo, did you know this was as bad as it was until this conversation where I'm talking about it? Because I think a lot of people weren't. Yeah, so Chani asked for people playing Classic is all we got All-Star. Yeah, but all you got is All-Star with all the other cards that are in these competitions, including the non-Classic variants.
Right, including the in-season cards.
There's nowhere else for those to be played either. Like it is so bad. Like I just like I'm mind blown by how bad this is. So the only caveat is if they actually come up with a permanent competition for Champs League and Europa League, but why would they do that if they have a weekly special that's the same thing? So it very much makes me think they're not coming up with anything else and that this is it and that it's this steaming pile.
Charlie said there's been no negative reaction because there's nothing wrong with it. Play the in-season comp if you have the cards, play All-Star if not. What's the issue? I don't know what people want. The issue is that people have like loads of cards and only 3 entries. And we were basically told that that specials would cover the utility for all of these cards that we have, and now they are not.
Yeah, Jesp asked, that surely so bad that it's got to be an error. I don't think it is, and I don't think that there's enough blowback on this that they're going to correct it. So you're just screwed. Until it happens, then what's going to happen is it's going to be so god-awful that week everyone's going to be like, what the F is this shit?
Johnny said weekly specials are cash rewards only, so surely they got to have champ running in Classic. This is
not.
They can't. They're not league matches.
They've already set the precedence. That's not how it works.
Yeah.
And this isn't just giving out cash. This is giving out cash and cards.
Right. There's also zero info about what the All-Star rewards will be.
Well, it doesn't. Again, it does not matter because whatever the All-Star rewards are, like, you are not winning unless you put up monster scores. Because, like, give it a good example. Pranksy has 30 super lives to play this week. Well, he's now down to 3, and he can only play them in gas. So,
I'm trying to see here to answer
Scott. I don't think the rest of Asia plays, but
Skazma said, does China play that game week? Be fun to watch all the Champions League lineups get blown by Chinese players, which what are the dates here? September 17 through 20. There are no Chinese games that midweek. So we're fine, Sean.
Yeah, like Charlie said, loads of people have more than 3 European goalkeepers. That's just not true. I mean, the people that are going to care and the customers that have been longstanding, a lot of them have more than 3. A lot of people that just play limiteds have more than 3 goalies. Like, a lot of people run more than one option. Gas is global all-star competition. So it's where you can just play all of your cards in there as well.
Louis said you cannot expect to play all the all your cards, if you have 6 entries per comp in the midweek, since only 20% of the teams play. The problem is if you can't even play the 20% of your cards.
Yeah. So just
you're playing 20% of that 20%.
Yeah. So like last year in this game, and again, this doesn't matter. That I don't even think it impacts me as much as it impacts a lot of people with smaller galleries. Like if Alex said, I'll enjoy gas, and that's fine. I know you're not going to enjoy gas because you're just not going to win, because there's going to be 600 Mbappes at the rare level in there because there's literally nowhere else to play it against Club Bruges. And it's just like, if you don't have like the best cards, you're just not going to win. And there's going to be so many
one classic card, Sean.
Yeah, sorry. There's going to be so many lineups that are going to be in there. And also, just to be clear, like I have no issue with them requiring in-season cards for specials. I have no issue with that at all.
That's not true. You have a big problem with 4 super rares.
Yeah, I have a big problem with 4 super rares and 4 uniques. I think that's absurd. But that's a whole nother point. Also, like, here's another thing. If you have, let's say you have a Tottenham stack, or like, let's say you have Tottenham cards, and let's say you have Real Madrid cards, you can't use them because they are in different competitions. Like one's in the Europa League and one's in, or Man United. I don't know who's in what of the English clubs, but like you can't play them because they're in the same competition. One's in Champions League, one's in Europa League. That's not the same competition. They have different specials. You all of a sudden can only play those in gas. So, but it's not even this. It's not even stars will be stars or anything like that. If you bought an in-season Mbappe in game week 14, doesn't even matter. You can't use them because there's no competition to use them in. There's no point to even have that card.
You can use them in All-Star.
Yeah, you can use them in All-Star, same as all the classic ones, and it doesn't matter.
Right.
It
matters because you actually have less XP than older.
Carol says it's League's Cup problem multiplied by 10. I tend to agree with that.
I think it's actually so much worse.
Okay, that's
because League's Cup had the whole like rotation risk, whereas Champions League, like the best players are playing in the Champions League. Mbappe's not getting rotated for the first Champions League game.
Yeah, no, he's not. So, anyways, if they had Champion and Challenger open, well, I guess Challenger will be open. But if you could actually play those cards there, it'd be fine. But that's not how they do it.
Yeah, it's
are they going to change?
The rules are very clear, and it seems wild for me to see them go back.
Like, all right, so now that I've talked a bit about it, since I've lost my mind about it, like, what is your take on it now that you have a better grasp on it?
So this is one of those things that seems like it doesn't affect me because I don't have in-season Champions League cards. The problem is that it does affect me because now I am playing against all of those cards in Classic All-Star with 3 lineups. And there was no, like, I have enough midweek cards to over-enter these competitions. And now it's just gone. Like, I think there was a time over the last few months where we were like starting to understand that we were going to lose some utility. And
I was fine with losing some utility. I'm fine with that. Just to clear that up. I'm fine with that.
Yeah, I think it's just the scope of utility that the amount of utility we're losing is actually much greater than we expected during like midweeks. And it used to be, it's just a very different mindset where we used to pay more for players because of midweek because of the extra utility. And now it's actually becoming not so much a detriment, but it's not much of an advantage anymore.
Well, also, like, there's the whole stars will be stars, and now they've devalued the entire Champions League competition in game week 14. Like, completely devalued it. Like, it's bad. Mike Baston asked, do we think, where's Liz at? Do you think it takes the community complaints for them to realize this, or do you think they will work it out themselves? 100% you need the community complaints. If the community is not complaining, if they have the ability to fuck you and nobody notices and you just go along about your life, they're like, cool, perfect. That's what we want. So, and they also might not even notice. They might not notice how bad this is. Like, they might not realize how god-awful this is because not a lot of people have. People that actually usually bitch and moan about everything aren't bitching and moaning about this. And this is the most bitchable and moanable thing in 2 years. And very few people are complaining about it. I've seen like nothing about this.
Yeah. Luis said, I think the realistic expectation would be to open a version of this with classic cards. So when I read this announcement, I fully expected to see that.
So,
like, totally. Like, hey, we have in-season challenger and classic challenger. And then we're like, hey, we have this in-season Champions League and classic champion. Like, I totally expected to read that. And instead it was one sentence that was like, oh yeah, All-Stars open for 3 entries.
Yeah. Well, so the obvious answer to this and the literal 0-second answer to this was they should have ran an in-season version of this and a classic season version of this, just like they do on the weekends, but just call it the Champions League in-season, Champions League Classic, and that solves all your problems. But they didn't do it like that. Not having a Champions League competition every game week is ridiculous. Like, imagine too, like you have Mbappe, and Mbappe rotates in the weekend to play the Champions League because it's going to happen in the second half of the year, and you just get shafted for owning an Mbappe because on the weekends doesn't play because he's rotating. During the midweek, you can't play him anywhere because the competitions are so horrific that you just are forced into playing him in a pile of poo. And like, what's the point of having Champions League players? Like, I'd rather have guys that are going to definitely play on the weekend for sure.
So Introzy said, are we thinking that by right, are we thinking that it should be 3 Champions League, 3 Europa and Conference, and 3 Global All-Star and Classic? So that
6-6-3.
Well, you're not doing 3. I think it's just single scarcity, but like you will not have 3 Champions League and 3 Europa Conference in the same game week.
Correct. At least as of now. Well, again, I expect people to lose their shit about it when it actually comes up and they're like, what the fuck? I have nowhere to play my cards. I can only play them in gas. And again, like I do want to reiterate this. My issue with all of this stuff is not the needing in-season cards to play. I'm fine with that. I am totally fine with specials requiring X amount of in-season cards. Do I think at the unique and super level it's a bit ridiculous? Yeah, there's not very many teams in these competitions, and needing to have 4 is a lot. But again, that's okay. If that's what they want to do, and they're like, hey, if you want to play, you have to buy 4. All right, fine. That is what it is. Like, what that does, though, that tells me they're like, I'm like sitting there. I'm like, all right, I need 4? Cool. I'm not playing it all. Done. I'm out. Right? That's what I would do. But at least I would have the opportunity and the option to be like, oh, man, should I buy these 4? Or like, oh, I'm buying 3, maybe, or I'm buying 2. Maybe I'll buy 2 more because then I can do this. When in reality now that it's like you buy 4, but you only get this week, then the other week it's just totally worthless. I'm like, I'm not going to buy any of these cards then.
There was so Luis said the original announcement was both in game week 10, but because Europa and Conference don't play in game week 10 and they only play in 14, that's why they changed it. But why not have Champions League in 14?
Correct. And Nanzo said, and I agree with this 100%, Champions League special should be really one of the biggest and most exciting competitions in the platform. I would argue the Champions League midweeks, like that competition should have like the best reward pool of the year. Like those competitions should be really good.
I mean, these in-season, I keep calling it in-season because they're like cash. Like a top prize of $7,000 and a star rare is pretty good.
Yeah.
So I don't want to like take away from the fact that
what about 14, Laird?
Yeah, $4,000.
No. The Champions League competition week 14, Laird.
It's $0,000. Yeah.
Oh, $0 and zero cards. Mike Baston. Mike Baston does not think, he thinks that I'm kidding and I will end up buying the in-season cards. Laird, what do you think about that?
I don't think have you bought any?
Yeah, I have bought, let me see. Let me tell you what I have bought in season. Let's see. So in the condom wrapper situation, I have bought a Christian Romero Classic Season Super Rare, a Pierre Coop Miners Classic Season Super Rare, and yeah, that's it. So I bought 2 Classic Season cards, 0 condoms, so with the intention of buying 0 going forward. Yeah. But the reason for that is because for me, the Super Rare competition is horrendous. I am interested in buying rare level, so I don't want to completely deny that. Like, I am interested in buying at the rare level. But again, you need to have 4, need to have 3. It's a lot. I need to buy so many of them that it's overwhelming, where if I need to buy 2 or 3, like, so if I need to buy 2 or 3 for a lineup, I'd probably buy 10. But because I need to buy 4, I'd probably buy 0. That's kind of how it is for me.
Luis said they only wanted to release the schedule for game week 10, but forgot that only champions play and they had to adjust. I think we'll have something else for game week 14. I feel like they should just say that.
Yes.
What do you think about $7,000 for first place in rare and $8,000 in super rare?
I mean, I think the whole thing's asinine. Their payout structures in general are just stupid.
They look like DraftKings now.
It just is so, like, dude, did you see like the Prem super rare like in season? It's 8,500 total prize pool. They're giving 5K to first. Like, wow. It's like you're giving 70% to first. Like, what is the point of me even playing this shit? It's like, here's the thing. All right, scroll down to super. It's a bit more clear. All right, so they're giving cash to 4 people. Take off $2,000 on first. Take off $1,000 on second. And then pay out through like 13th place. No, what, are you really gonna be pissed off that you won $6,000 instead of 8? No, you're gonna be fucking thrilled. But I'll tell you what, the people who finished 8th, 9th, 10th, 11th, 12th, 13th, 14th are gonna be way more excited that they won $300 in comparison to literal $0. Like, yeah, like that's ridiculous.
So I scrolled down. So Josh said that's second in super rare is way better than second in unique. So unique pays 1 spot, $10,000 to first. I mean, 4th in super rare is better.
Yeah, dumb shit. Absolutely asinine. Because, like, here's the thing. Like, it's so stupid. It's not. I'm not even gonna talk
so
about
what surprises me about this is, and I feel like the graphics were made for this. There's no reason they need to pay out card rewards in the in-season competition.
None.
Like, if they just split it and they were like, we're going to do this in classic, here are the card rewards, we would all be like, cool, we'll play that. Like, giving out cards and cash, I don't think even moves the needle at all. Like, nobody is looking at this prize pool for game week 10 and they're like, wow, I can win $7,000 for first. I don't need that. Oh, it's a star also. Now I'll enter. Yeah. Like, just it literally does not move the needle for people who want to play this in season. And if they had just done a classic and said, in classic European champions special rare, you get a star.
Well, I mean, yeah. Why spread it, break it into 2? Yeah,
that's what I mean.
Classic, run in season, and don't have it so top heavy.
But it almost feels like the graphic, like they knew that they were going to do that, and then all of a sudden they were just like, you know what, just do it all for the in season.
Yeah.
Like, everything that we have been told over the last few months, where you use in-season cards to win cash and you use classic season cards to win other new cards.
Yeah.
And now is just like, as you started, it's just like a kick in the nuts to your classic cards that this week, no, you can only win 3 things.
Yeah. Yeah. So. And just wait till the All-Star rewards come out. They're going to be freaking terrible.
Well, I assume they will have to go, like, if they keep their rule of only rewarding who's playing that game week, then you're going to run out of champ cards.
Well, no, because a lot of people play. That just means on the weekends they're going to give out more of like the dog shit teams and
right.
Stuff.
But everybody plays.
You have like MLS playing that week too. So like there's a lot of other shit they can give away.
In All-Star.
Yeah.
Yeah. Like I assume the entire All-Star pool will be MLS.
Yeah, it's gonna be terrible. The pool's gonna be terrible. And there are gonna be 3 places that get money, and there's gonna be 8 million lineups because the only place people can play shit. Like, yeah, it's rough.
So Rikaman said they're hoping this bumps the price of in-season cards. Like I don't think it actually makes a meaningful difference. And obviously I'm just like completely speculating here and just guessing. But I don't think that there are people who looked at the cash rewards and thought, no, I'm not going to enter. And then the idea that you could also win a card is what moves them over the line.
Yeah. Like.
But I agree with this. Mike said wasn't top heavy payouts what people were wanting, though, at least at the higher end. Like, I think you and I will both admit that top heavy payouts are really bad for most users. Everybody. But it also is the most attractive to most users.
No, so here's the thing. All right, so it is the worst for every user on the platform except for Pranksy or the person that's gonna win. Like at limited, it's bad for everybody. At rare, it's bad for everybody. At super rare, it is bad for everyone except for like 10 people, and then at like the unique level, it's bad for everyone except for like one person, like Pranksy. But it's not only bad for everyone, it is enticing. The issue is that like these aren't jackpot prizes, if that makes sense. Like 10K versus 8K isn't like getting someone going as much. Like DraftKings is like, all right, we're gonna give $1 million first instead of 500K. All right, that changes a little bit. Like 10K. Also, like there is top heavy. And then there is what this shit is, which is like ridiculous. Like top heavy is like 35% to first, 30%. This is like 70 to 80 to 100% to first. Like, and so it's bad for all users because what it does is it makes people have negative sentiment a lot more frequently. And it also churns out the amount of people that are, Charlie said 7K in a star rare are not a jackpot prize. Is 5K in a star rare a jackpot prize? Because I don't see much of a difference between the two. Like it's
so I think that's sort of the real conversation there is it feels like whatever like your minimum jackpot prize is, they went higher than that at the expense of a more reasonable payout structure. And so like, just like Charlie said, like if you consider 7K and a star a jackpot prize, and I think that's a reasonable jackpot prize, just like you said, Sean, 5K and a star is probably jackpot enough too.
Correct. Like there's no difference. Like you're not sitting there like, oh damn, I won 5K in a tier 0. You're like, yeah, I won 5K. It doesn't matter. But what it does is those 60 people that could have got $20 to $30 that would have been really happy are now pissed off because they got 0. So you make one person not any more excited and you make 60 people more dejected every week. That's not good. So it's one of those things that like, yes, the jackpot prize is what incentivizes people and gets people on, but there's also a realistic level of so Prem Super Rare is like, it's 8,500. It's 5K, 2K, 1K, 500. Turn it into 3,500 and give 3 more spots payments. You're still thrilled that you won it. And also, like the answer is 5K a jackpot when you spend 100K to get these cards? No, it's not. It's a reasonable return, but like it's not like I paid $20 and turned it into 100,000. It's that I turned $100,000 into 5K. And so it's not a jackpot regardless because you're not giving away the amounts to make it a jackpot, which is fine.
So however you like define jackpot, the point is that somebody sees that amount and they're like, I want to play for that. And as weird as it sounds, the number matters.
Yeah.
$7,000 versus 5,000 or 10,000. 5 and 10 make people look. 7, you're kind of like, that's kind of a weird amount.
Yeah.
Like 5 does the job that 7 is trying to do.
Well, like in the unique level, like first place is 10K, second is a tier 2. Like you're literally, the difference between first and second place in that competition is going to be like, it's going to be like, first is going to get like $15,000, second's going to get like 300. Like that's
I would actually argue that one makes more sense than the 7,000 in rare.
Nanzo said they are only paying first place in unique because only one person will have the cards to play it. Great example, because why the hell else would anyone else play it? Because I sure as shit wouldn't play it. If I looked at that and I have unique cards, I'm like, hell no, I'm not playing that shit. What's the point? Yellow's brought up a point, and I couldn't disagree with it much more. You wouldn't be comparing or complaining if you own the competition. Would 100% be complaining. If I won the competition, I'd be like, I'm so happy I won. That is dumbest shit I've ever seen. That's how I would be if I won it. Like, it's just really bad for an overall long-term user effect. Like, Scosmo used to play unique level. Scosmo would be thrilled winning tier 2s and tier 3s throughout the season, like occasionally. If you turn that into like Scosmo wins a tier 2, tier 3 super rare once a month, into Scosmo wins nothing for 12 months straight, it's dejecting. It's dejecting. Like for a lot of people on the platform at all levels, limited, rare, super rare, unique, winning something instead of winning nothing ever is going to be very dejecting. Like if I'm a limited player and I win $2 once a month versus nothing ever, me winning $2 once a month is going to be pretty exciting. Maybe I'll win 5 one month. I'll be excited about it. If I literally win like nothing ever, I'm just getting constantly more dejected because it makes it appear like I don't have a chance to win or do well. When in reality, like if you just get something, you feel better about it.
Yeah, I think there were 2 comments earlier about when we were talking about the prizes for the card prizes. And it was, so Scosmo started. So now you have a champ gallery to fit the regions and then win in-season challenger cards through the Champions League special, which is I don't think they're going to pay. Like, I think the Champions League special will pay out Champions League cards.
No, because there's Bruges in the Champions League. So Bruges cards are going to be in that competition.
Yeah, you're right. Yeah. Fair enough. Yeah. And yes, said, can't wait to play All-Star with my full Champions gallery to win cards I can't use.
Hilo said, Sean, it just explained why Threshold was pivotal to Health of Sorare. Threshold was not pivotal to the health of Sorare. Threshold was very pivotal to the possible destruction of Sorare.
It was pivotal to our health on Sorare, not Sorare's health.
Yes, it was very bad. But that doesn't take away the fact that people do like to win occasionally.
Yeah.
Having people win never is never a good thing.
Yeah, and Mike added there, you can win Pren cards, I guess, in the Conference League contests.
Which
they did say nothing about boxes.
There is no essence in these, as far as we can tell.
Yeah, but who knows? Sorry, there was another one I wanted to catch up on.
Flame Flung said, just have logical prize pools. ChatGPT could come up with better shit. Probably not wrong. It is true though. Like a lot of it is just logic, right? And like you said, you literally looked at that prize pool and you're like, all right, just like 2 seconds, okay? Can you pull up the prize pool for the champs competition? And then all right, this prize pool. I'm gonna just spend 1 minute on it. All right. Break it in half, have classic for cards, have in season for cash rewards, remove a little bit of the cash rewards, give it to the podium in classic, and then maybe chop off $1,000 worth of pay. Instead of paying top 40, you pay top 60 in the season. Boom, done. Right? It's not super complex, and that solves the issue with the prize pool.
What What just popped in my head here about like splitting it into card reward, a classic competition for cards and the in-season for cash is because there's an expectation that there will be significantly fewer in-season cards than classic cards to play, that paying down to 90th in this in rare, what do they pay for limited? They pay down to 300 or to 100, excuse me, in the cash competitions. That number, like 300th in terms of cards in limited and 90 in rare, would look like insultingly low for the number of entries that they actually get.
Mm-hmm.
Like if you had a champion special classic comp, you would have thousands of entries and only 90 rewards. And that theoretically, I think that looks bad, but this might be worse.
Yep. Red or Dead said, going forward with the demise of cap modes, how do you utilize our lower L15 players? And a couple people respond to him, you don't. You just eat shit with them.
No,
you get the random competitions where you can use them in a cap mode when they run out special.
Yeah, like this weekend we have cap 250 and you'll need them then. But like
I think you're going to get 1 or 2 cap mode specials a month.
I think the bummer about what they did with cap modes is you're basically holding on to these cards that you don't want for the hope that there's a special somewhere where it's cap whatever. And instead, like nobody's buying these cards either. And so we're all just kind of like holding these low L15 cards, which are now higher L15s because they changed the scoring to 35 for a bench player. Yeah. And it's just, I don't know, it's not as, I don't know. I hate having to like hold cards for that reason.
Yeah, it's true. Mike Bass said Classic is now a hemorrhoid in Sorare's butt. The issue with Classic is you can't get rid of it. If you get rid of it, everybody is
the game's dead.
Yeah, so like you can't get rid of it. Like you have to treat it with respect while also forcing people to buy new cards. I think they were doing a pretty good job of that. I thought that a lot of stuff made quite a bit of sense with how they're going about it. The first blip on the radar for me where it just didn't make sense was this announcement for the midweeks. That was the first blip on the radar for me where it was just like, that does not make sense. But it's not even from a classic standpoint per se. It's from a, why do you want to own cards standpoint? Like, why do I want to have a lot of cards? Like that, which is bad. If you are incentivizing me not to own cards, like not even in season or classic, like why do I want to own cards if this is what the midweek's gonna look like? Legit question.
Yeah.
Like you don't.
Selcook said they didn't actually announce the Champs League plan for game week 14. They did the mistake thinking Euro and Conference was going to play in 10, and the original announcement then corrected to 14.
So I've seen a couple people mention that, and okay, let's pretend you're right, and that's true, which it very well could be. Then it looks terrible because they misannounced it and they gave up a bad announcement. They didn't include that. All we are going off of is the info that we have provided to us, which if that is true and it's that they just haven't announced what they're doing for that, then they should have waited. Like why did this have to come out today? Why couldn't they announce this next week once they had all their P's and Q's figured out? But like also like why did this like have to be done poorly? Like it just didn't. Like this is not something that needed to be done today. It could have been done next week. And when you announce it, it just looks bad.
Do you think that so as somebody who potentially could play this competition, they're giving out $65,000 in cash for the Champions League contest. Mm-hmm. If they gave out $32,500 for each game week for 2 game weeks, meaning you get like 2 Champions League, does that change anything for you? Like if you look at the prize pool and you're like, actually, like just cut this in half.
Like, are you pissed at limited level winning $1,500? No. Like that's way more than you should win at limited level. Are you pissed winning $3,500 rare? No, it probably pays for the whole team. Like
that's what I mean. Like if we cut it all in half and just distributed it over game week 10 and game week 14, so you have 2 opportunities to use your Champions League cards.
Also, this goes back to like, how do they not know dates and times on competitions and when stuff is going to be? Like, I don't understand how there's constantly, oh, Leagues Cup's happening. We had no idea. Like, how do you do that? I don't understand it. Like, it's just like you should be very aware of the schedule and how the season works, because a lot of stuff isn't like. Imagine if we just got to the Champions League semis and they're like, oh, we didn't know it was going to happen, guys. Sorry, this wasn't on the radar because it wasn't scheduled. It's like shit.
Game week 14 is not announced yet for champs. They only corrected move to conference and Europa to 14 because there are none in 10. But like there will be, aren't there surely are Champions League matches in 14?
I mean, I would assume so, but I'm not actually positive on that because that's not my job to know that shit. But that's definitely, I'm assuming there are. Like, but again, like, why did they announce it without having the Challenger stuff or without having Europa? Like, why did they announce it without knowing that those games were that week instead of the other week? Like, that's my point. Is like,
Yeah, Riegelmann confirmed there is Champions League in game week 14.
Okay, so like, yeah, so like, I mean, if they, but again, like, why would they? So they're going to announce this for the specials for game week 10 and 14, and then they're going to have another announcement announcing specials for game week 14 that wasn't in this announcement. That doesn't seem likely to me.
DM Star said, I remember at 12:59, which is about 59 minutes.
And just remember, I've been the most positive person that Laird talks to on a day-to-day basis by a significant margin for the last, I would argue, 6-7 months. I've been very positive on everything for quite a while.
We're getting a full calendar next week, Sean, so we'll be
fine. Okay, again, so if we're getting a full calendar next week, why the hell did we need this shit yesterday? And I think Major NFT said something earlier. He's like, because it would incentivize people to buy more cards. This announcement, I'll tell you what, if I was buying in-season cards, this would have made me stop. This would have made me stop buying in-season cards.
I think that's dramatic.
Fling Flong, he was furious with 4 in-season Super Rares, but I have made him epileptic with rage. Do you remember when you didn't like me, Fling Flong? Now you like. We've just become best friends. Look at that. Way back in the day, Fling Flong wasn't a fan of me. Like way back.
I think you're an acquired taste, Sean.
I'm definitely. I feel like I'm very like hit or miss. People either like me or hate me. That's typically. Usually, people don't cross over though.
I mean, people can change.
True.
Prize pools can't, but people can.
True. That is true. Yeah. There's that too. There's obviously love-hate relationships as well. But
let me go back to this whole like stopped you from buying cards idea. So like, how many people do you think were buying before this announcement? How many people were buying in-season cards of Champions League players with the thought of using them in midweeks? Like, how much of the consideration was it? You're like, oh, wait, I should buy whoever.
Can I change this question a little bit and ask this instead, and then I'll answer it? I'm going to change this question to how many people do you think this impacted their buying strategy? Is that a reasonable like switch?
I guess, but I actually don't think it answers the question I'm trying to answer.
I think people that are buying champs cards, like, if someone's buying a Rodri, they're buying Rodri for Prem and Champs League. Like it's sort of ingrained into the decision point.
So like, yeah, I guess the question was kind of like, is it 80-20? Like the Champions League is not that many more games.
No, that's not necessarily true. Like if you are one of the better teams, you're talking 8 to 10 midweeks. Like you're talking 8 to 10 midweeks, probably at least.
So like 8 to 10 games over the course of an entire season.
That's 20%.
But is it? So do you think that people felt like they should be spending 80% of what they did because of this?
I am going to guess that this announcement did not impact anyone one way or another. Like I don't think it really had any impact.
But you just said it actually stopped people from buying.
I know I said it would stop me. If I was buying, I plan to buy some rares. I do plan to buy some in-season rares. This has made me less interested in buying them.
Because you don't feel like you'll be able to utilize those cards.
I don't see much value in those cards from a midweek perspective. Also, I would like to say, Laird, so like, let's just use Mbappe as an example because Nanza sort of brought this up. If I'm buying an Mbappe, I would say like 50% of buying an Mbappe is league related. 25% of buying an Mbappe is like Champions League related, and 25% is international utility.
Yep.
Not a lot of people have international utility in the past. So like having those type of cards can be very helpful.
Sure.
And it definitely, like, yes, the prize pools may not be that good, but it is also very hard to get lineups out. So like sometimes the prize pools might not be good, but you can absorb a greater portion of the prize pool by having a lineup, especially like at a U23 level. So like if I'm buying Mbappe, a lot more of it, because like on a weekend, like I have like 80 forwards I can run out there. It's not that big of a deal. Midweek, I might have very few that I can run. Same thing with the international stuff. So I think there's a lot of impact from the cards that I would buy or have into like the other competitions that are midweeks and international utility.
Yeah, no, I think that's fair. Yeah. Yeah, so obviously something like this kind of announcement where there is and I don't want to say there's a specific game week, which would be game week 14.
Correct.
Where you're like, you can use your in-season Rodri, but you're not using it to win cash. Correct. You're only playing an all-star.
It's basically a classic card.
Right.
In that situation.
Right.
Which at what point, like, so like, for example, like I was going to buy in-season Prem Lamp, right? Well, now maybe I'm like, why? Because I can't get that utility in the international or in the midweek. So maybe then I can't really get it in the international week. So like, I don't really need it to be in season. I'll just go buy an old season card instead off the secondary and stuff. And it's like, whatever. But no, I mean, I think that there's like I said, this is just like it also, like, for me, like, why do I have cards? Like, why do I have as many cards? It makes me not want to buy cards because I have way less opportunities to use them. And it doesn't matter if they're in season or classic. So like, why am I going to go out and have cards? Like, let's say I have 20 goalies that are eligible for the Champions League competition. Why do I have 20 now? I'm going to be maxed out using like 6. So like, why am I having them in my gallery?
Yeah, I think if you're the type of player who, before you buy a card, really thinks about like how often you are going to play it, which I don't think many people do, but they probably should. That number is obviously going to be lower.
Yeah.
After this announcement.
Yeah. Like, I mean, I did the math. I think from what it would have been last year to what it would have been this year, my amount of lineups I had would have been like 25 last year. Now it would, and I'm only counting rares through super rares. So like limited level, it probably would have been like the same ratio, I'm assuming. But like I went from like 25 to 30 lineups to like 15 to 18. So like I had a massive cut. But again, I'm okay with losing some of my utility. It's more about like that specialized utility of like, all right, I have Champions League cards. I need Champions League cards to play the Champions League midweek stuff. If I don't have them, I can't play it. And all of a sudden it's like, all right, I can just like run Carlos Gil because why not?
Right.
But so Fling Flong said, and this could be true, I really doubt there will be nothing other than all-star or non-specials during the week. That very well may be true, but that is not what we were led to believe with this announcement. And again, if that is the case, then that means this announcement was done very poorly because it wasn't included within the announcement of what other stuff will be there.
No. I think Fling Flong's saying that weeks where we don't have these types of specials, we'll get all-star. There will be nothing other than all-star on these non-special weeks.
I think they're going to run all-star in midweeks most of the time.
Yeah, because there's usually not much, like there's not Champions League going on and stuff like that.
Yeah, like I think they're going to run midweek all-star almost all the time.
Oh, I'm sorry. Yeah, I totally mixed that up.
Yeah,
Flint
he
thinks there will be more than All-Star, which is
he
shocking.
thinks there's going to be something else out there other than just All-Star in this upcoming during this game week 10 thing. But like, yeah, like so next week, is there games next midweek?
Maybe. Let's see.
Yeah, I haven't even looked yet because it doesn't matter. So
game week
504,
502. No, that's a weekend.
503. Sorry, I wanted 503.
Yeah.
It's got to be someone. Someone has to play, right?
Yeah, we've got Libertadores, some Champions League qualifiers still.
So what is going to be like? What is the competition currently for that for next week?
All-Star.
There is an All-Star next midweek.
We don't know yet.
Is there nothing?
It's not posted yet. I wonder if, and there's probably a special weekly.
Well, there is a special weekly, but I'm asking like what the special weekly is.
Oh, let's see. Let me just find the random. No, it's probably not this one.
Oh, also, Laird, there are more games too. If you remember, the Champs League is now 8 games in a group instead of what it used to be.
Instead of 6
or 7 or 9. Why? I don't know the exact numbers. I don't care enough to care. There you go. So next midweek, so 503
All-Star.
So All-Star. All right. So game week 505. What's going on in the midweek in 505?
Cap 270.
So in game week 505, there is cap 270. Is there absolutely nothing else but that? Because I'll tell you what, looking at my lineup for that week, or is there there could be, I guess it looks like maybe no, so there's Champions League and Challenger qualifiers. So as of this second, I have 8 or 9 rare goalies that are playing in that game week.
50 what?
505. But there is not a competition that is open in theory other than cap 270 and U23. Nothing else should be open that week as of now. Just go to All-Star. Yeah, go to All-Star and see what you have. They're not going to have it, but you can go look at it. Yeah, so right now you have at least...
I only have 2. Just 2.
Yeah, but so you can only use them in... so you have a 63-hit goalie in cap 270 and a 54-hit goalie in cap 270. And then you go to other positions and I don't know, go to your other positions. You're going to have guys that are all right, where the hell are you playing all these guys? You can't play them all the time because they're too high. They're not going to fit within the cap. So it's one of those things okay, I only have cap mode. So what am I supposed to do if I have a 75 Lucho Acosta? Perfect example. That game week, Lamine Yamal plays against Rayo Vallecano. I don't know how many teams play in the La Liga that week. Maybe the whole La Liga plays. Maybe whole La Liga plays, and if that's the case, La Liga's open. But I have Batarina. Batarina's got a 64 L15. Icardi has a 66 L. Where am I playing these guys? Because if I only have the option of playing cap mode, how am I playing these guys?
I wonder if that's... Oh, man, is that a...
La Liga might be open that week. I have no problem. I have no idea.
No, I'm wondering if those are... Oh, wait. La Liga looks open that week.
La Liga's open that week. But so, again, every week's going to be different. But if midweeks are just going to constantly be not great, it's very concerning to me.
I don't know if U23 is open midweeks or not.
Yeah, we don't know that actually, to be fair. So there might not be U23 in midweek. So in theory, you literally only have All-Star. Nothing else exists. Or cap 270. In theory, if there's no leagues open, that's it. Well, I don't know. So, all right. So here's a question about U23 because I don't know this answer. In other competitions, it's been you have to have 10 teams in that competition open. Isn't every team just a U23? So shouldn't U23 be open as long as there's 10 teams playing?
I think U23 is open whenever the fuck they want it to be open, Sean.
Well, that's fair. That's fair.
I don't think there's a U23 standing rule of like, I don't know.
Yeah, but I mean, all right, that's here. All right, so Tobias in chat is basically saying U23 is a game changer. It's great because it's open all the time. What if it's not? And then Tobias bought a whole shitload of U23 players for that reason. And then all
Toby did buy a shitload of U23.
Yeah.
players.
Okay. Well, then, let's say U23 is just not open and it just doesn't exist in all these midweeks, and you bought Lamine Yamal because you wanted to use him in these U23 midweek, and you bought Jude Bellingham because you want to use him in U23 midweek, and boom, doesn't exist. Okay, that's cool. Like,
I don't want to say that they didn't announce that. I just don't remember seeing it.
I think it's likely U23 will be open if they have 10 covered teams. That would be my guess. But you are right that they did not go over this, so that's not like based on anything other than me using common sense.
Yeah.
Yeah, Jesse said, when I saw the announcement at first, I was thrilled. Now I'm disgusted. I saw a lot of people like happy with this announcement, and I was like losing my mind. Like in all the discords I'm in, no one was bitching about this.
Minito said a manager can have 1,000 cards. That doesn't mean Sorare need to have competitions for all in 1 week.
100%.
Yeah. I don't think either of us are saying that.
Totally agree with that. No, you don't need. I don't need loads of. Yeah, everyone is. I've now depressed everyone, and that's sad because I've uplifted everyone for the last 6 months with my positivity.
Vita says, "Oh, you guys are still live. We're back. Oh, you."
Let's ask him. Did you realize, Vita, how bad this announcement was yesterday?
I was gonna say this is a bad time to come in, Vita.
That was a good time to come in. I'm curious if he realized how bad this announcement was yesterday. That like took us a while to realize. I'm glad that I'm the sunshine of Fripp's life. That is.
Or if somebody knows, or Vita, do you know if U23 is always open?
Yeah, he might actually know that.
Yeah.
Yeah, and here's the thing. This is what's going to happen. They're going to like do different shit during these midweeks because people are going to bitch or something's going to happen. They're going to open, and people are going to be, see, guys, they had other shit open, and we're going to be like, we never said they weren't going to have other shit. We're saying they didn't announce they were going to have other shit. It looks bad. I
feel like this announcement was like, hey, look what we're doing. And did it include like don't worry, there's more, there'll be more info, or it's just the whole like, oh yeah, the September calendar will be
I don't
know. Please also note that another special event will be open for game week 12 to celebrate the European games taking place in those dates. But like,
I just like, just put this all out once you figured it out. Like, you're doing the whole September schedule next week. Just
Nacho said we will have a Champions League special in game week 14 too.
Okay, but okay.
How do we know that?
Perfect, Nacho. I believe you because I think you would know. Like, you are someone that I would believe would know this. If that's the case, it's not in the announcement. So it just makes it look really bad because it was poorly announced. So like, if that's the case, that's great, but it doesn't take away the fact that the announcement was done poorly and had this viewed this way. Because I don't have the inside information. So like, I don't know that. So I can only go what is in the actual announcement that is given to us.
No, I think it's as simple as that. Like, hearing, surely they'll have something for game week 14. And it's like, why do we know that? What did somebody say it in Discord? Like, it just feels like the point of this announcement was to get us very excited for a specific week. And it just opened up too many questions of like, wait, but what about this? What about this? What about this? And a very simple, like, hey, we'll have other competitions. Just stay tuned. And we'd be like, okay, great.
Yeah, which point?
Like, we want to be optimistic about these specials.
I want to be like, these specials are awesome. I can't wait to play and buy. Like, if these specials were good and they made more sense to me, I would actually have pulled the trigger and started buying those cards that I were looking at. There's lots of cards I'm looking at buying. I just haven't done it.
Yeah, everybody keeps saying, a few people in chat have been saying that they did this announcement to like keep boosting the sales and they did the extra bonus, buy a card and get more essence or another card. I just think it was another announcement that just led to like way more questions than excitement.
Yeah. Well, I think the extending the buy one, get maybe something, I think that was good. Like that incentivizes people. I don't think this announcement did anything to incentivize people. It did do stuff to de-incentivize people, but I also don't think most people picked up on that. So I don't really think there was much of an impact on this announcement at all. That like either way.
Like if you read this announcement, I don't think you would believe that there was a game week 14 Champions League contest.
Correct. It does not read that way. Like you read it yesterday, I read it yesterday, and then I pointed it out to you today. Based on how it is read, you would agree with that, correct?
Yeah, like, hey, we have 2 comps. Here's one for Champions League in game week 10, and here's one for Europa and Conference League in game week 14.
Correct.
That's it.
That would make the most sense. Like that would check out. Like I would be like, all right, yeah, that's cool.
And so if you were told, yes, we're going to have one in 14, would you expect it to be as big as the game week 10 one?
Yeah, I would expect it to be the equivalent size, which it might be. Yeah, it very well might be. That's not what's in the announcement.
It feels like if it's just as big, they would have included it in the announcement. I don't know.
No, because it just seems like they're confused on dates. That's what it seems like, right? Like, it seems like they're just confused on dates and who plays when.
Yeah, the only reason why I don't think it's the same is they made a very big deal about the first one.
Okay, no, Nacho. I think it was not announced because game week 14 is in October, not September. But then I don't get why they announced the Europa League and Conference one. That all checks out. I buy that from Nacho.
Hold on, sorry. I think it was not announced because game.
I buy that. That checks out. Braden said, Sean, when summarizing the announcement we've talked about for 75 minutes, is I don't think the announcement caused much of an impact. I don't think it caused much of an impact, but I think it should have caused an impact. And Nanzo said the announcement has 0 impact on sale. People have been preparing for the upcoming season, like what they wanted to do, and I agree with that. So, like, I think that all checks out and makes sense. That's true too. I mean, like my preparation has also been like, this goes to the discussion of like needing so many in-season cards. I had so much ETH that I had available to buy cards, and it's just like it does not get me where I need to go in season. And because I need so many, you need so much of it up front that it just turns me off from going into in-season right away. And so, it more so is like a prep for like 1 or 2 months into the season for me.
I'm going to push back on that a little bit because it is the same number as the regular comps.
Huh?
Like in the regular champion in-season comps, you need 4. Sorry. I keep thinking of rare and limited.
Yeah, not at super rare level.
Yeah, and super rare. Yeah.
Like it's a big. Yeah. So.
Sorry, my fault.
You're fine.
Yeah.
But no, like
rare you need 4.
Rare you need 4. I have a lot of ideas of like what I want to do. I just only have so much ETH to be able to divvy between all my things. And so like kind of my viewpoint on this is like from I guess this could have been a whole nother conversation topic. So for me, I don't think I can realistically play in season until I have my classic properly sorted out and set up well. And so therefore, like I really needed a really strong defender super because I just don't really have any. So like it made way more sense for me to go buy a Romero super rare classic season for like 70% off what the classic price was. Or not 70%, like 40% or so off. Like it made sense to do that instead. So like there's just, for me, my focus is on shoring up my classic stud cards and then worry about in season after that. Because like, as we both know, right? Selling on the secondary can be very difficult. Like it just can be very difficult. So if I win a tier 0 tomorrow in the Prem, let's say this weekend I win tier 0 in the Prem. The cards I would want to buy may be very different based on what card I win, because I probably cannot sell that card very easily, and I might build around that card instead. So like for me, it's more of a like I cannot really do this day one. I would rather wait and shore up my classic, see if I can win a big card. Then from there, I can assess what makes the most sense based on that.
Yeah, no, that's fair. That's fair. Yeah.
And also, like, I'm not trying to be negative. I'm not trying to be that negative today. Like, I really am very happy. I feel bad. I got everyone like ready to just.
That wasn't the point of the show.
I wasn't trying to make people upset and like be dejected. Like, I'm really happy with where Sorare has gone the last 6 to 8 months. I think where they've gone makes a lot of logical sense. I think they've made a lot of really good decisions. I think there is one big hole that doesn't impact a lot of users that needs to be sorted out and figured out quickly, because I think it has the potential to kill the platform if Unique and Super Rare is just as bad as it has been. But it also doesn't impact a lot of users, so therefore they don't need to focus on it as quickly as other stuff because of that reason. So anyways, I really am happy overall with where Sorare has gone. I just think that this is a really bad announcement. But I'm going to bring the positivity. The button is awesome. The button, I would argue, is the number one thing that has ever been done in the last 2 years. So like we have like the worst thing done in the last 2 years and the best thing done in the last 2 years. Like the button, I think, Laird, my guess is the button will save me 3 to 5 hours a week.
Like with the 2 game weeks?
Yeah.
Yeah, but midweeks are dead, so it's really only 1.5 to 2.
It still takes a while.
I'm just kidding.
All right, so like, yeah, cut it in half. Let's cut it in half. Let's call it. I think the button's going to save me 2 to 3 hours a week. 2 to 3 hours a week of just pure waste of time that I get back, which is awesome. For someone that's about to go into their busy season, works a lot, has a lot of other responsibilities, saving 2 to 3 hours of just pure bullshit that I don't need to spend anymore. Amazing. So kudos to everyone for bringing the button.
So I'll finish this with a quick story about the button. I was obviously away last week, and on at 8 a.m. on Friday, I sat down to do my lineups, like to put them in. And I usually, like, I had them all built on Sorare Data already, but 2 hours before I hadn't put anything in. And I opened up Discord to like see if there was any news, I had to make any changes. And all I read was the feedback about the new UI.
So bad.
So I don't even want to say if it was good or bad. I don't want to even, but I will say that it wasn't overwhelmingly positive about the new UI and how to put the lineups in. And I'm sitting there in a house filled with like, there are 10 kids, all these adult, like it was a big house for my whole, like multiple families. And I'm trying to sit down and put my lineups in. And I was like, this couldn't have come at a worse time for me. So I go to the UI and I was just like, okay, how do I put one in? And I finally figured out how to do it. I put in one lineup and I was like, I'm literally going to run out of time. I open up Slack for some reason, and there was a message from Vita that was like, the button is ready to test if anybody wants to try it. And I was like, and Sean, 3 minutes later, all of my lineups were on Sorare.
Yeah, so Brad asked, can you show people the button? Some people don't have it yet, so we will show it, and Larry can show like what it does. I think it helps anybody. If you're entering more than like 2 or 3 lineups, I think it's a huge help. If you are entering like 20, 30 lineups, like, oh my God, the amount of time you just save is significant.
The number of people whose screenshots I've seen where they were like, export 2 lineups to Sorare, and I was just like,
I would use it if I was doing one. You just have a lot more information on Sorare Data than Sorare.
But not only that, Sean, completely eliminating the risk that you click the wrong card is massive.
I actually did that. I did that like 3 weeks ago. I clicked the wrong. I clicked Brian Hainan in a lineup. I don't know who was supposed to be in it. Like I didn't remember. And the lineup was pretty good. If I played anyone else, I get a reward. So yeah, like there is also just so. So Nanzo's testing it with 60 lineups right now. So I will say it is not going to be rapid, like done in a second, from what I can understand, if you have a lot of lineups. And then also, like, guys, it is a technical thing that is being implemented and deployed. If you are trying to wait till 9:30 a.m. Eastern to submit your lineups and do it, you are asking for trouble. So if like you're going to export your stuff, try to do it the night before. You don't want to do it when everybody's using it, especially like it's a new tech thing that is brand new. All types of stuff like that has issues. Like I haven't seen any, knock on wood, that I've noticed. Like everyone seems to be making it go well. But like it's a tech thing. Like there could be issues. So don't put yourself in a position where an issue could really screw you up.
Yeah, I would highly recommend not exporting your lineups 1 minute before the deadline and hoping they work. Simple as that.
Like don't do that. Like pop in Thursday night, put in your lineup. See
I was gonna say so, and you actually asked this question before. If you are somebody who does your lineups the night before, early Friday morning, export them then. And if you make any changes in the lineup builder, if you export them again after that, it just overrides what was there, and so all of your changes will be there.
Yeah. All right, let's show people what it looks like here, Laird.
Oh, I wasn't even going to do that.
Oh, we have multiple people asking.
But anyway, so if you have, this is the lineup builder. We also have this new tool that some people may not have noticed that suggests cards to get to make your lineup even better based on price or, I should buy Pickford, I guess. But anyway, that's a different
story. That makes a lot of sense.
Yeah. So if you go to My Teams, so you can see all of your teams, there's this button right over here, export lineups to Sorare, and it'll show you how many you're exporting. And if you just click that, I have to actually fix 2 of them.
There you go.
So it gives you that warning, and then you just hit, usually it just says export. I'm not going to do it because I have these missing ones I have to fill in. And then it sends you to Sorare. And you just have to confirm on Sorare, and you will literally see the Sorare logos by each of your lineups kind of spinning, and then it'll show done. And then at the end, it says, I think Sorare's button says "got it" or something like that, and then you're set.
Yeah. So like I have not done it yet. I cannot wait to try it tomorrow. I'm looking forward to utilizing it. But yeah, the best thing is like I remember when it was originally like people were complaining about the button and like that it was going to exist. And I'm like, why does it matter? If you don't want to use it, don't use it. Like it's not, this is the equivalent of like what this is to me. Pick a task that you hate, that you don't like to do, and it's just a waste of your time. For me, I hate cooking. I don't like cooking dinner, right? Cooking dinner, let's say it takes me an hour. Imagine if you could just press a button and boom, everything's on the table and you're done. That to me is like but let's say you like to cook and that's like you enjoy that hour cooking. Do it. I don't like it. I want to press the button. You don't have to use it. You can go cook and spend your hour cooking. Like it. So I just don't understand why people were upset about it. Like this is a great tool for a lot of people that will save a lot of people a lot of time. And if you don't want to use it, don't. It's really no impact on you if you don't want to use it too.
Yeah. Now that we have the button for easy 30 lineup entries, we don't have the competitions.
That's very true.
So also, because a few people are saying in chat how they don't have it, we did not roll this out to every single star member right away. We're doing it in waves just to make sure that it works and that we don't get bombarded with things. So if you don't have access yet, it will come over the next few days. So just like, please be patient.
Yeah. Yeah, we didn't want to give it to everybody. If we give it to everybody at one point, like it's just not going to work.
Yeah.
It'll work, but like it could slow things down, could be errors. It takes it a lot more difficult to like fix that and really lock it out.
Right. It's basically going to end up being like a tremendous strain and at a time that's already very busy on our site. And so we just want to make sure. I'm just going to make sure. Nanzo said, I've pressed the button. I'm now going away to enjoy my wife's cooking.
Yeah, even better. There you go. So Nan's on a 1 to 10 scale. How nice was the button being available? Now when Jimmer asks like something about baseball, you can just point to the button and be like, the button. Like, done.
He already asked me about the baseball button.
Yeah, there you go.
First thing.
Jimmer.
Can't wait to use this for baseball.
Yeah, can't wait. There you go, Jimmer.
Yeah.
9.
Anyway, there's the button. Go use it if you have it. If you don't, please be patient. And yeah, it's coming and hopefully everybody loves it. So yeah. Thank you to everybody for coming. I think this ended up being, at least we're ending on a good note, right, Sean? There it is.
That's what I'm here for, Laird. I'm here to make it.
Export all your Champions League lineups.
Make sure everyone's happy.
There we go. So anyway, thank you everybody for coming. If you could please like, subscribe, all that good stuff. Shout out to Quinny. I'll be back tomorrow with Andy for Sorare Andrews. And then, yeah, we'll see what happens the rest of the week. Thanks, everyone.